So today, I'm embarking on the biggest challenge that I've ever taken on. The Nürburgring is a near 22-kilometer circuit that winds its way through the Eifel Mountains in Germany and is widely acknowledged as one of the most challenging race circuits in the world. I'm setting out on the ludicrously ambitious journey of sharing what it really takes to set a sub 7-minute lap time of the full circuit, infamously known as the Green Hell. But long before sharing the idea with anyone, I needed to make sure I wasn't totally crazy. So I called Lars Kern, Porsche Pro driver, Nürburgring record setter, and all-round hero, just to touch on the idea. Thank you for believing in the craziness of this, but
I mean, I paused in the first moment. It was like,
I wish we'd have filmed the first call, because I was like, I don't know how to speak to you about this, because I genuinely didn't know if I was insane or if the journey was worth the story, not just the end goal. And so when you spoke to me, you were like, no, it's not, you're not totally insane, just a little bit. Sub 7 lap times are typically reserved for professional racing drivers, and I am not a professional racing driver. But the biggest challenge, outside of perhaps my very own skill set, I'm not going to be attempting this time in a full-fat race car with slicks. I'm going to be attempting this in a road-legal supercar. But there's a lot of seat time, training, and advice required between now and then if I've got a cat in hell's chance of making this thing possible. But there are only a few road-legal cars in the world capable of this time, and I ordered mine over 18 months ago. Welcome back to the GT3. So after taking delivery at Porsche Perth, this is going to spend a disproportionate amount of time on track and learning the incredibly advanced functionality of the latest GT3 RS. Red there, blue there. Red there, blue there. This is the compression for the front. This is the compression for the rear. Crikey, this is ridiculous. Okay, it's like having a race engineer on your steering wheel. When someone will say there's a car that's been fitted with adjustable coilovers, you would come in and manually adjust them with a spanner.
Yeah.
Whereas this, you can do it in real time on the track.
On the track from the steering wheel.
Yeah, which is crazy. Independent of compression, on this side, you've activated rebound. Rebound is how fast the suspension defaults back after it's compressed. But then there's another option. On lift-off throttle under rotation, you can balance that, neutralize it, or make it more front to rear bias of the lift-off axle vectoring. It'd be interesting to know how many, as a combination of all of the options available, how many variables there are. Turns out, there are over 6,500 possible combinations of compression, rebound, stability, traction, and DRS. So I've got some bedtime reading to do. The first port of call was to AR Exclusive to get this car protected. What this car's about to go through, it needs all the protection it can get. It's amazing, dude. Absolutely awesome. We've spoken over the time. This is going to spend a lot of time on track. What sort of application do you guys do in order to sort of enhance the...
On the cutouts on your car, more so it gives it more protection. We've applied double on all the cutout areas.
Right.
Where it's more likely to get hit.
Areas which are exposed here.
Yeah, all of them have been like doubled.
Do you know, when you see them in reality, there's so much exposure. I mean, that's going to be flicking gravel and rubber and all sorts of stuff out at a very high speed, isn't it?
Yeah.
So effectively, anywhere there's cutout arches exposed to the tyres, you've put extra on it. Ejection area there, ejection area here. You can actually see it. That is going to be super helpful. So the idea with this is we're going for quite an ambitious project, mostly on the Nürburgring. So the car is spec'd in Porsche PTS Gulf Orange, arguably one of the most iconic colors in the world of motorsport. And while it's important to protect and preserve such a special paint, the journey I'm about to embark on is going to give this car a serious battering. Right, so if anyone's wondering what I'm talking about, we conveniently happen to have here a very well-tracked GT2 RS. And all of these black dots here are rubber impact from track day use. Conveniently, it's just come back from a track day, and we thought before it gets cleaned off, why don't we show you what we mean by high impact zones and why AR have done a good job of applying in these areas the extra depth of PPF. GT2 RS doesn't have any of this here, where the face of the tyre is basically directly impacting the body, which, when I say that out loud, is actually crazy. So while the backbone of this journey is setting out to achieve a frankly ludicrous sub-7 lap time, that's almost an excuse destination to tell a much wider story as to why this place is so special, so notorious, why OEMs use it as the benchmark tarmac in the world to develop cars, and what keeps people coming back from all walks of life to this spot right here. Now this challenge is hard enough as it is, so to give myself a fighting chance, I've ordered the Helping Hand Pack, also known as the Weissach Pack, a more track-focused, lighter weight version of the already ballistic 992 GT3 RS. But to find out what the Weissach Pack really means, we got this car up on the ramp at Porsche Perth with GT3 specialist Cami to find out what this car is really all about.
Some of them, it's got a little protective coating on it for your
look at
anti-roll bar.
So this anti-roll bar, you can see it up close that it is carbon, but it's got the sort of underbody protection on it. Cooling and channeling is crazy on this thing.
It helps diffuse a lot of the air as well, so it's going through and it's penetrating the air as cleanly as possible.
And that is a pretty serious piece of carbon, that. Yeah, they've really evolved this heavily, haven't they? Top line, the GT3 RS is all about aero, generating a staggering 860 kilograms of downforce at around 170 miles an hour, surpassing even the GT3 Cup race car for wild cornering speeds.
This part here
Yes.
is also part of our DRS Aero.
So that's active?
So that's active as well. So that works in tandem with your rear spoiler. And when your rear spoiler goes down to a maximum downforce, that will also shift to a maximum downforce position as well.
That's the reason why they now have a central cooling system, right?
Yeah.
So obviously on a GT3 non-RS, you have a frunk because the cooling radiators are here and here. But I think they've taken learnings from the GT3R and RSR and gone, if we consolidate in the middle, do away with a frunk, then we can channel aero over the wishbones. which is proper race cars. Now, as one of my all-time favorite places in the world, I've been really fortunate over the years to spend quite a lot of time at the Nürburgring. But not nearly enough time for the challenge that lies ahead of me. So we're going to be catching up with masters, pros and heroes along the way to give me as much help as I can get and give you an unseen insight into the remarkable world of the Nürburgring.
When I called in, they were like...
So it's quite a maintaining momentum lap.
Yeah, especially with a car like this, which is like pretty high in grip but pretty low in power. It's all about momentum. Because you don't make a lap time straight.
No.
It doesn't make it easier.
No, it doesn't make it easier. It's like proper commitment stuff, isn't it? Gonna ask Santa for a sim for Christmas. Now, I know what you're thinking. Are you sure about this, Jimbo? So on the journey of researching this, I was trying to explain just how challenging this task is. For an amateur driver like me, you could liken this to a type of climbing Everest moment. And that analogy stuck with me. Only, it turns out, over 6,000 people have successfully summited Everest, and less than 40 people have officially lapped the ring in under 7 minutes. Why is that? Before we answer that question, let me introduce you to Manthey Racing, the team who will be at the heart of the Sub-7 journey. So successful in racing and development that Porsche acquired a majority stake in Manthey, making them Porsche's official in-house race department. Today, we're speaking with Michael Grassel to understand why this challenge is so difficult. Why do you think it is that hardly anyone has done a Sub-7? I mean, it's not because there's a lack of people who are talented enough. There's plenty of fast drivers. And yet, seemingly, like less than 40 people have done this in a road legal car. Why is that?
The whole lap is the real deal, because then you can compare it to the factory lap of Jörg, Lars, or whatever.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
And it's fast, you know? You have to be prepared for that.
Sure.
And when always the last seconds or the really top-notch stuff, it's getting serious, you know?
Yes.
It's not just jumping in, having a bad night, worse tires and full tank and then just send it. It's a little bit more serious and you have to be prepared for it.
Yeah. So there's a big difference between bridge to gantry and full lap, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're missing the whole Döttinger Höhe.
The whole straight.
Yeah.
Bridge to gantry, or BTG as it's known, is the time between the bridge here and ending the timing at the gantry here, because tourist laps are forced to exit here, removing any timing of Dottinger Hohe Straight. A full lap, therefore, adds in over 2 kilometers of straight and the highest top speed to be reached during the lap.
What does it take to arrange an official time here? Because that also seems to be the barrier to make it official, right?
I mean, there are 2 steps.
Yeah.
First step is on the tourist rides. It's always, if you don't have a video, you didn't do it.
Right.
You know, that's the first one.
Yeah.
In our business is, if you don't have a lawyer with a certified lap timing, you didn't do it. It's even, just as an example, if we do it during training,
It doesn't count.
It doesn't count because it's not official. It's not in a performance slot, and there is nobody here to confirm it. You know, because in case of that, everybody would start to gamble.
So having the driving skill and making it an official time lap are both very difficult components of the challenge. But wait, there's a whole lot more to make this journey even harder.
On 2 identical days, the track might differ. I mean, it's just the surrounding and the environment, but you also. If
absolutely.
you had stress yesterday, maybe you lose 3 seconds and you think, I did the same like yesterday. You know, you can
like
prepare a lot, engineering-wise, but there is still somebody who has to do it.
So there's a real tight window here. Weather, psychology, skill, officiation.
You do it for yourself.
Yeah.
It's the challenge
exactly.
of yourself, and this can be a cool story.
It's a long journey, man. Like this isn't something that's happening next month, right? Like this is a real journey. So that makes sense why there's so few people. It's not necessarily the fast drivers, it's the circumstances to make it happen.
But the frustrating thing is, my GT3 turned up at the very end of the season, which means the Nürburgring, as I stand here right now, is about to close. So you're probably wondering, what's next? Now this is going to be a hell of a journey. I'm not just going to rock up at the ring and just put a lap in. The gravitas and statement of what I'm sharing with you right now is not lost on me. And while the goal of Sub 7 is the backbone to this journey, this is a much wider story. The cars, the culture, the people, what makes the ring so special, what makes the ring so infamous. Why is it that it's hallowed ground for most petrol heads who are certainly track enthusiasts? So we're going to immerse you in it and take you along for this magical journey. So welcome to the new Porsche GT3 RS and welcome to the beginning of Sub 7.
Just call me tomorrow.
I will, after this lap.
You gotta be like, delete all the
Delete!
material.
Delete! Let's forget this ever happened. Thanks for the pizza. Back to England.